I guess hi. How's it going, folks? Hi, I'm Sako Tumi, also known as Cass Voit, which you can tell by my overlay. And I'm taking my hoodie because it's warm as blankety blank out here. All right, so they left. Though the thing in the corner up here that tells me how many people are in often lies. So I don't know if they actually left or what's up. Or maybe it was me. Maybe it was me. It's supposed to be a party. Okay, so there should be music. Okay, present. Share screen. Maybe music. Okay. Hello, Heather. Good to see you, honey. Thank you so much. And over that now. And now I'm 5:56. I am at 5:56. I just noticed. I don't know if that means you yeah. Good to see you. So this month has been trying. I performed in a live belly dance show yesterday, and I pulled a muscle by stepping on it, and I'm feeling a little better today after I took some painkiller and I've worked it out a little bit and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'll be fine. Just gonna be a minute before I dance again, I think, until I heal this injury on my right calf. All right, so how about this? Okay, I'm changing the music to something a little more ominous because I'm gonna do some reading. And this one. And let's do Flambeau. Okay. Oh my goodness. Daisaku Watson grimaced as sweat trickled into his eye, and it stung from the salt. April of 2020 had brought more troubles than he had anticipated. But then, who had anticipated an anti-police social justice movement during a global pandemic? The day had been a scorcher, and nightfall brought no relief. It was typical for Arizona, even in the springtime. Despite the lockdown in Phoenix, especially since it was so loosely enforced, mass people were in the streets protesting police brutality, racial injustice, and oppression. It was the perfect opportunity for Daisaku to hunt his bounty. The dark sweltered in the alleyway sandwiched between low-rent mom-and-pop shops in Phoenix's south side. An old family liquor store sat on one side and a pawn shop on the other. Both had a grimy texture that would have been associated with pollution and age. However, nothing in Phoenix was old per se, the city having seen its construction heyday in only the 60s, but that didn't keep the buildings from feeling depressed and ancient. Despite residents' best efforts to keep neighborhoods lively, poverty and governmental neglect for certain areas of the city lent an air of abandonment and grit to most buildings in the south side. A shadow shifted to the bounty hunter's right in the distance, causing him to tense as he readied himself for combat. He raised his guard and squared his stance, eyeing the end of the alleyway where he saw the movement moments pass. With a quick glance over his shoulder, he made sure the protest crowd wasn't looking down the alleyway before whispering, "Hikari." His birth tongue, Japanese, from a narrow jets of flame from his fingertips. Light cast along the shadows. Light cast long shadows in the darkness of the alley. Sorry, the file changed and let me find my place again. The dark of the night had hidden the grime of the brick of the buildings, but the firelight illuminated it. Massive roaches, common to the hot Arizona desert, scattered across the vault and asphalt. His shoes made a sickening thwacking sound as he took careful steps down the narrow strip of abyssal black. Daisaku had spent long years hunting both mortal and magical prey, and he'd honed a keen sense of awareness of his surroundings. Hey, cool gamer. His battle sense tingled, and he looked up just in time for a shadow to leap from the top of the liquor store and onto him. He hadn't turned in time to use either his magical weapon or his gun, and the attack crumpled him to the ground under the weight of another man. The cold blade of a knife slid between two ribs from behind, and the shock of pain blinded Daisaku for a second. I need I need more than 3 minutes of music. Okay. Where was I? His sharply drawn breath hissed between his teeth as his assailant took Daisaku by his shoulder-length black hair and slammed his face into the asphalt. His bearded chin reverberated off the concrete, and the skin split beneath the hair. His teeth and jaw ached. Blood poured from his face and onto the street. The whole incident was going to leave one hell of a scar. Daisaku aimed his hand behind his head and mentally willed the flame hotter, as hot as he could get it, forcing the assailant to backpedal away from him. Despite the lightheadedness that washed over him as he moved, Daisaku pulled himself back onto his feet and prepared himself. He couldn't make out the attacker's features, all except the reddish gold flash of hellfire in his eyes in the darkness. It was another thrall, someone who sold their power to an imp, devil, or demon for power. Daisaku's job was to hunt down people who had committed such a crime against nature and the universe and turn them into the Mage Council for judgment. Sometimes that meant binding the person from harming himself or others, other times confinement, and sometimes it meant a far worse punishment. But all of that had little to do with the bounty hunter. His job was to track and trap the criminal, and he was damned good at his job. Panting, he slipped the 9mm he had carried into its holster, and he instead clutched the hole in his ribs with one now slick hand. The gun was rarely his best defense or offense against magically imbued creatures like an enthralled human. He had better weapons at his disposal. His other hand held a small ball of fire, readying himself for the thrall's next move. The demon puppet stood with a blood-stained knife in hand, a wide, toothy smile illuminated by the firelight of the bounty hunter's power. Its body aimed at him and trembling in anticipation. The thrall looked like every banker that worked on Wall Street, but he was roughed up from the scuffle. What was carefully coiffed golden brown hair was now tousled. His button-down office shirt was rumpled and smeared with Daisaku's blood, but it was the orange flash in his eyes that was the dead giveaway that he wasn't entirely human anymore. Daisaku's arm lashed out as he flung the fireball at the nameless thrall. To the bounty hunter's shock, rather than the ball blowing up in the thrall's face, his prey caught it with his bare hands and heaved it back. Eyes wide, Daisaku cursed under his breath and dove into a pile of trash that poured over from an overfilled dumpster and lined the alley to avoid being blown up by his own bomb. The fireball roared past the bounty hunter's head and crashed violently into bags of trash near him. Burning trash exploded and rained down on the two. The acrid stench of burning plastic and garbage permeated the alley. Sorry, I had to reboot the music. Only 3 minutes! Burning trash and exploded and rained down on the two. The acrid stench of burning plastic and garbage permeated the alley, making the bounty hunter's eyes water. The thrall seemed unaffected by it and only offered his devilish grin in the shadows. Daisaku sighed, doing his best to breathe through his mouth, and winced at the wound in his ribs as he climbed back to his feet for the second time that night. This fight wasn't going at all the way he'd planned. Clearly eager for more violence, the thrall waited for Daisaku to get his footing as he put away his knife. He lifted one arm toward Daisaku and, imitating Morpheus from the movie Matrix, motioned with one hand for Daisaku to attack him. All right, no more fire, no more weapons. Daisaku swiped his palm roughly across his face, wiping the blood from the underside of his beard as it ran from his chin down to his neck. The thrall's eyes watched his hands carefully, and it gave him the advantage he needed. With lightning speed, Daisaku stepped into his assailant's space, forcing his boot into the other man's shin and stomped down onto the ankle and the top of his foot. The thrall buckled under the impact in surprise of the movement and the blow. His weight no longer supported, and as he did so, Daisaku met the other man's face with a hard jab. With a satisfying crunch, he felt the thrall's cartilage in his nose crumple under the blow. The man staggered back, but did not go down. Instead, he swiftly ducked forward, lowering his center of gravity and brushed Daisaku in a tackle, his head colliding with the bounty hunter's upper stomach. Getting the wind knocked out of him aside, taking another blow near the knife wound in his ribs made his vision white out for a split second, but the bounty hunter's instinct kicked in and carried him through. Daisaku's elbow crashed down between the shoulder blades, dropping the man down to the ground in a clumsy sprawl. "Stay down," Daisaku shouted as he put a knee where he struck, forcing a groan from the splayed man, and pulled a set of enchanted zip ties from his pocket. He twisted the man's arms behind him and tied his hands together. Daisaku then yanked him to his feet, making sure he put the full force of his strength behind the movement, and the thrall let out an angry shout. Whatever imbuements demonic powers had given the banker to be able to catch fireballs with his bare hands clearly had not made the man any physically stronger. I could stop here. Hey, Adega. Hey, Cool Gamer. How's it going, you guys? That was the first section of the first chapter of Flambeau, which I will be giving away for free, an ebook of Flambeau if you don't already own it. And you should read it. Oh. All right. My party is going to be so short. Anybody? Okay, here we go. I remember reading that. It's such a great chapter. It really sets the tone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm glad you like it. It is one of my favorite pieces. There are things I would change about it now that I'm a better writer, but gets the job done. Mm. Oh, I am so tired and so warm and forming goosebumps, which is terrible. Geez, what am I up to these days? I have another channel, which is a podcast called Sako and the Moon. We talk about craft and marketing and movie reviews. We do movie reviews on Mondays, which I did before this stream, and Friday we do our live show. So if you are not subscribed to Sako and the Moon podcast yet, I strongly recommend it. Look us up. There's a green drippy face with a knife in his head. A skull. It's like one part skull to one part drippy, knife in the skull. As the logo, so you can recognize this upon seeing us. All right. I have wheel spinner. Oh, it reminded me of all the things. Heather already has it, so I feel like I should give away a different book. What? Oh, I have Hope's Test, which is a cyberpunk thriller. I have Lambeau, which you already have, and then I have Hope's Chest. No, Hope's Chest is the first one. I have Shadows of the Fae, which is horror all the way through, and it's a novelette. It's only like 15,000 words, 17,000, something like that. So it's a quick read, but if you can stomach the first 15,000 words, the climax is extremely gratifying. So which would you prefer? Would you prefer Quest, the cyberpunk thriller, or would you prefer the horror jaunt that is Shadow of the Fae? I can offer either. My neck is not feeling it. Okay, I am waiting patiently for comments to come in. I don't know how bad the delay is. It must be bad. I know Cool Gamer only posts once and watches for the rest of the time, but Adega usually dips out after saying hello as well. Okay, so I am going to stop the music so that I can share a screen. Actually, I don't know why I'm opening the spinner. Stop screen, start the music again. Okay, if you like this video for some reason, you might want to hit the like button, and if you would like to see more videos from me, which are usually lives, if I'm being frank, then you might want to subscribe and maybe even ring the bell on the off chance that YouTube actually notifies you when I randomly go live. And I will catch you guys on the flip side. Oh, that's silly.